You don't get out of your foxhole much, as you guys know this time of year, but it's been an amazing couple days on this coaching profession, hasn't it? It's crazy how it's 4 coaches now in the last several days that are no longer coaching the team they started out with at the beginning of the season. It's amazing. It's amazing to see. And again, I think you always you know how fortunate you are to get to do this, and what a tremendous role you have the opportunity to play. And really, maybe I get teased or kidded or what for being old school, but it is bigger than just winning those games. And I know what the bottom line in all this is, probably better than anyone, because I've been through it several times, but play a tremendous role, and you got a chance to be a tremendous role model. And sometimes we lose sight of all that as we go through this, so we lost Saturday. I mean, it was a competitive game. We didn't play as well as we're capable of, but I'm really proud of just what we are. Not that we're perfect in any way, but I'm proud of the resiliency of our team. I'm proud of the character of our team. It's a lot more. And sometimes things happen that you just say, did that really just happen in this profession? And, I feel very fortunate to be here and have a chance to do this and hopefully make an impact on these kids we're coaching and the potential families that they will impact as they move forward in their life. And I do think we're on the right track with that. And that's in no way trying to take away from the fact we lost Saturday or trying to deflect anything. I just think with all that's happened this week, sometimes you need to take a step back and just say, what are we doing? What is this becoming? It's still about coaching, doing the very best you can do, getting those kids to be as good as they can be on the field, but also off the field. And, we get to play a tremendous role in people's lives, not just the fans based on winning and losing, but more importantly on these kids we're coaching. So, again, not to get up on the soapbox, but man, when they call you coach, that's a tremendous responsibility. It's a tremendous responsibility. And with all these escalating salaries and coaches in the door and out the door, man, it still comes back to the original reason we all did this, and that's to make a difference. And I think we're doing that. I think we're doing that in a positive way. So that's my little soapbox right there, but it's something I have a strong conviction to. It's bigger than just what those stats were at the end of the game and total yards were, and it's bigger than that. And I'm impressed with our kids. I'm impressed with our coaches. We came back in Sunday morning, as coaches do all over the country, at 7 o'clock in the morning and started digging through it. Players come in Sunday afternoon. Keep grinding. No panic. Keep grinding. This team we play this week, I think you could make a case that, I was thinking driving home last night, is there a team in college football, period, that's played a more difficult schedule? When you think about going to Ohio State, Columbus, you think about going to Wisconsin, Madison, you think about going to Boise State. Then you say you play Colorado at home and you play San Diego State at home. You sprinkle in UC Davis. I know this, comparatively speaking, this is a Mountain West Conference team, not an SEC team or a Big 12 team or a Pac-12 school playing that kind of schedule. Comparatively, it's the toughest schedule in all of college football, without a doubt. And it may just be, bottom line, the most difficult schedule. So, to me, 2-4 means absolutely nothing. They've got some weapons. They're a very aggressive team on both sides of the ball and in the kicking game, and they will come after you. I know they're hungry for a win. They've got a quarterback that's played in the Pac-12 at USC. They've got a core of receivers that are back from last year. Defensively, their defensive coordinator is Tom Mason, who was at SMU. We actually brought Tom Mason in 2 years ago. Talked a lot of football with Tom Mason. We have great respect for him. He's done a lot of things in this profession. So we know a lot about them. They know a lot about us. Their defensive coordinator won't be surprised at all by what we do. He was here on our campus 2 years ago and spent several days. We went back and forth exchanging ideas. But more importantly, We're a 3-3 team. We've played 6 games. We have 6 games left. I kind of look at it as a 2-week season right now with the open date coming up after the San Jose State game. And I think that's a challenge to our players. You know, in some ways to say this is the first game of the year and we have a 2-week season to go see if we can get better. So, Rick, you want to start this off?
Kimmy and Dakota not having their usual productivity, was that more of a statistical anomaly, or was that a factor, would you say, in the game?
It's probably because several times that ball creased the line of scrimmage and it was on those safeties so fast. No, I think, I don't really know. I didn't really even know that because I don't really look so much at those tackles and those kind of things. You know, I look back at our defense. We really do, again, have the chance to turn the corner. And that was what was so frustrating about Saturday. Again, it was a very competitive game. There were some very good plays made on defense. What do we have, 8 tackles for loss? I think right now we're 6th in the country in tackles for losses. We're 7th in the country in sacks. There were some good things. Unfortunately, we couldn't turn the corner and consistently play our best down after down, and then it started to cave in. We still defensively, are we confident enough, are we mature enough when things start going badly to just be able to do your job? We're still not where we need to be with that. And a lot of times it's good intentioned. You know, we've got some guys that are hungry. We do have some guys that are playmakers, but at times that's their trying to do too much. You know, that old cliche of when things start going bad, of panicking a little bit and trying to do too much. I don't know that we've had a game that was more evident of that going back and looking at it than Nevada. It was guys jumping out of their gaps, at times shockingly, and maybe with good intention, and it was because they started moving the ball on us. You know, they started moving it, and we started to panic, and oh no, here we go again. And after the game, I thought, boy, we got overwhelmed a little bit, we got exposed a little bit, and then by 9 o'clock Sunday morning, we all realized that, with no disrespect to Nevada, because they are good and they are big and physical and have 2 good backs, we did not play and execute as good as we could have, and that was the most disappointing thing. So I know I've rambled a lot there. The question was about Dakota and Kimmy. Dakota did not play one of his better games. Kimmy did not play one of his better games. 3 times Kimmy jumped out of his gap, and it hurt us. A couple times Dakota uncharacteristically was in the wrong gap, and it hurt us. So regardless to what the statistics say, tackles, those things, those 2 guys did not play as good as they're capable of playing. And that causes us to hesitate just a little bit to make sure we're not trying to do a little too much as we keep building this blitz package and keep building this more aggressive package. So what you saw through those statistics in this case was evident in how they played. Henry?
Coach, mid-season or a mid-season review, critique of your team. We can break down games and look at stats till we're blue in the face, but you've got the conceptual skill.
Yeah.
Watching me on the practice field, you got that wide look, you see the big picture. What is your vision, the real upside of your football team?
Well, you know, again, we're kind of in the middle of it right now, but I guess what I would say is defensively, I think schematically, we have what we need to have to be able to win here and compete consistently. I really believe that. I think our offensive scheme is unique enough. I think our defensive scheme is now unique enough. We have the schemes. Defensively, we are getting better, as evidenced by tackles for losses, as evidenced by sacks, that we can make plays on defense. There were a lot of plays Saturday where it was bang, bang. It's kind of fun to watch. It's aggressive. It has a chance to get better. Offensively, we've hit a little bit of a lull in that we're triple option, and we do a good job with it, but it's watered down just a little bit. We're not quite as good with the mesh stuff that Cole was really good at. We're not as crisp blocking as maybe we were. We've got a few more weapons on the perimeter, throwing it. We can maybe throw it a little bit better, but we're a little bit watered down. We're not quite as precise as we were. Maybe we can do a little bit more if we have to. Like in the fourth quarter, we came in and we started throwing the RPOs. We're not as precise. So we continue to evaluate with our guys, what can we do and still be precise? So right now, the defense, in my opinion, even though we just gave up 500 yards, we're getting better. We're getting better to turn the corner. I really believe that if we just keep grinding it. And we can stay healthy because we were injured. Offensively, we're good. You know, we do good things against a really good defense. Are we precise enough, and are we moving in the right direction completely to be able to let our kids be precise enough? Special teams, we've been okay. We've been pretty good. Our punt team's been unbelievable. 5 times we've punted the ball, and we've got possession back off our punt team. Our kicker struggled. We came in probably the toughest conditions all year with Zach Rogers. We made a field goal in swirling winds. Return game, we haven't had a lot of opportunities. They're not really kicking it to us. So I go more to the X and O thing than, you know, attitude-wise, great. Want to win, great. How we do things, pretty darn good. Where are we just X and O-wise? I tried to just say what I think where we're headed, you know. So we're 3-3. That's about what we are right now. That's about what we are. You know, Tulsa and Nevada were 2 games that we probably said we were equal to in some ways. We didn't get it done in those games. You know, going to Wyoming and winning for us after beating them on the last play of the game last year was probably a good win for us. We're 3-3 with 6 games to go, and you know, we still got a chance, but we have to get better. I said it last week. We have to get better. We didn't get better at Nevada. We had a chance to. I mean, it was 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. It was 14-10 at halftime. It had a chance to be 28-25 if Gambo holds on to the ball. If Bundy makes the kick, we had a chance to, right? But we didn't. We didn't.
Coach, you plan on using Austin again this week?
You know, that is decided by the play of those 2 guys, as I've said. I think there's more of an opportunity that you would just see, here's a series with Austin than there was a week ago. I do think if you got to see the game in the fourth quarter, what we did with Austin, Lamar can do as well. So in some ways it was a little unfair to Lamar that Austin came in, and that's when all the RPO and getting the ball quick out stuff started to happen. So I still have tremendous confidence in Lamar. I think he can do that stuff. So I think based on just performance, there's a chance both those guys will play more, regardless of more just the situation calls for it. You know, I think there's a chance that Austin will get to play.
Coach, is there a difference between the passers? Because there's times that Lamar throws his passes are a little shorter. Austin's a little more precise. So what do you think the difference is between the two? Is Austin a little better thrower?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Lamar would come up here and admit the same thing. Austin gets the ball out really quick. Austin can really, you know, have velocity on the ball. That's why he was recruited and why he went to Washington State. You know, and it's why Lamar was recruited as an athlete to Arkansas and ended up coming to New Mexico to have a chance to be a quarterback. I mean, that's the reality of that. Unfortunate for Lamar, you know, we did have some third down conversions in that game, and we did throw the ball around pretty good if you look at the stats. And I think we were, 17 for 19 for 24 throwing it. Now, a couple of those are the little jet sweeps that you get credit for completing the ball. Lamar, the last 2 throws he threw in the dirt before we took him out. One of them, Presley, turned the outside linebacker loose when he should have blocked him, and Lamar had no chance. And then the next one, we didn't run a very good route. But the reality, it looked like the ball was just spiked into the ground almost. So that's why we made the change. But when you go back and look at the tape, there were some reasons that happened. So, you know, it always comes back to, you know, sometimes your first impression is not exactly what reality was. So Lamar can do those things. Lamar deserves a chance to do those things. Lamar ran for 150 yards each in the last 2 weeks before this game. So there's no reason to be down on Lamar. Austin came in, some things started happening. They were back on their heels because they hadn't really practiced against that stuff. So he deserves a chance to play. Can he sustain that when all of a sudden he's in there when they've practiced against the stuff we're doing now? We'll see as we go.
Does that give you a little more confidence and tempo-wise that you guys can, kind of get it out and go when you need to?
Yeah, but again, we kind of started the season with that we felt pretty good about that. And we get to where when we're really in there and teams practiced against what we're going to do, and now it's not, okay, this all of a sudden just happened. What are we and what can we win doing? And I think the Tulsa game set us back offensively and defensively a little bit of like, whoa now. That was just a reality check right there. Maybe our personnel's not as good as we think, or maybe we're not that far ahead now. So now we said we better get back to what we know we can win with, and that's triple option football, and we better start blitzing on defense now. Okay, we've just seen, with a bolstered depth, things like that, whoa, man, Tulsa just went up and down that field on us. So we evolve as you do every season. What you think something's going to be isn't necessarily what it is. That's what coaching is. How can we squeeze out and how can we continue to win games here? And that's where we're in the process of right now. And we're headed in the right direction. We're headed in the right direction. There were a lot of positives Saturday.
Let's talk about the end of the first half. Got the ball about 2:30 left and just kind of...
Us?
Yeah.
I mean,
huddle up and...
Totally. That was me. We were 14-10 at that point, but we were really back on our heels, particularly on defense, because the game started out, we stopped them a little bit. It was 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. But all of a sudden, they started to gash us, and there was a little bit of panic in there. We're going to get the ball to start the second half. We're a little bit discombobulated. The wind's blowing all around. Let's just minimize the damage right there as that momentum was going against us. Let's get in at halftime. Let's figure it out. Let's settle down. So there was no need for me to take unnecessary chances in my mind right there because we were going to get the ball in the second half, and it was a 14-10 game.
When the option is being strung out to keep Andovich, what's happening at the second level? Are guys just not getting to the linebackers? Or?
No, it's anytime you put something on tape, particularly when you play against an offense like ours that people don't see each and every week, there's a tendency that people, because of video evidence, will steal the scheme of the week before or 2 weeks before. Because you don't have that much evidence of your own defense playing against that stuff where you're really comfortable. So if you see somebody else have some success with it, you say, okay, that's the plan. And what we're getting is a little bit of a outside-in way of defending us. They're going to guarantee that you're not going to pitch the ball, and in their mind, they're going to guarantee that the quarterback isn't going to keep the ball. And be honest, New Mexico State did that same thing, and Lamar outran a guy and went 60 and almost scored again when he got shoestring tackle. He went, 75 against Wyoming in the same scheme. So you don't give up on it because they still have to do it and execute. But we're getting more of an outside in, which forces us in some way schematically, numbers-wise, to give the ball inside. And again, as we had this conversation before we started, we're still trying to get better up front, offensive line-wise. We're still not quite what we've been up front. And can we throw the ball a little bit more? So numbers-wise, it's more outside-in defending. Where what we've been with Casey Carey and Jarrell Presley and those backs being able to run that ball up in there, they've had to defend us the last couple of years inside out. So now you kind of got the whole thing going. So it's a challenge. There's some times we block that perimeter pretty good, but it's more of a perimeter defend New Mexico game right now. So, yeah.
On the defensive line, you guys still banged up and getting those skinny guys back this week? Or?
Yeah, I think Van brings up a good point. Within every loss, there are a lot of positives. And I do have to compliment Dylan Romine, our offensive tackle, played every snap with as bad an ankle as I've seen. He sprained that ankle on Tuesday, and I mean, it was bad. Didn't practice, came out there Thursday, just gutted it out. Dylan Romine played every snap. Nick DeVonzo, who had a pretty significant hamstring injury, slipped out here on the grass. We started Chris Lee at defensive end and Garrett Hughes. And Nick DeVonzo came in and played about 45 plays in that game up at Nevada, and I give him a lot of credit. Isaiah Brown, who practiced all week at corner, I saw the play he did it on Thursday. He tweaked his hip flexor, but he didn't want to say anything. We find out right before the game that he can't go. Nias Martin comes in, starts at corner. A guy that was a junior college guy that didn't even have spring football came in here in August. Edling played with a shoulder. I mean, there's a lot of guys that played really hurt. The good news is Nick is back this week. He should be healthy, even though he cracked his thumb in the first half to go along with the hamstring. Sam Abani, who didn't make the trip because of an ankle, he's back. And there's some good news on Kenny Okonkwo. You know, hopefully we can get him back here in 4 weeks or so as we try to make a run. So yeah, we're a little healthier, and again, you know, I compliment a lot of guys that really played banged up there and in a physical game.
Ivy and Santos are going to be
You know, Santos, and I can say this because I've told our team, Santos's cousin was involved in a just horrific motorcycle accident, and he got the news this morning. And was in my office, and just, as you can imagine, I mean, his cousin was killed, and just totally wiped him out. So we you know, obviously we took care of him today, and he left practice. Elbow-wise, fine. How this plays out this week, because obviously there's a lot of things to come with that. So I don't know. You know, I don't know. Health-wise, he's going to be okay. And also Daniel Henry will be okay. He's back with the hamstring now. He played a little bit up there. Another guy with a hamstring that played up at Nevada. And then IB, it's kind of day-to-day. You know, it's a shame. He's into that hamstring, low back, hip flexor. You know, once that thing starts and that whole chain gets discombobulated a little bit, it's frustrating for him. He's in that training room every minute, every day, and then something else happens. So he's day-to-day. And then Bijan Parker, who I may have told Rick last week, cracked his collarbone in practice, which is why Nias came in and started, because Bijan Parker cracked his collarbone last Wednesday in practice, and he's out probably 7 weeks now.
Hadn't he been a big surprise for you, though, Nias?
Nias? He's been good. Yeah, he has been.
Those 2 hard hits against
Yeah.
Speed, and then that fumble, and
Yeah.
I've kind of liked him.
He's a good player. Yeah, he is. Good coverage guy. He's mature, smart, competitive. Yeah, we were very fortunate to get Nias Martin in the summer. Definitely helped our football team. Yeah.
So many of Jarrell's yards last year came on the pitch. It hasn't been there. As you said, he's not the best guy between the tackles. Are there more ways you can try and get him the ball, get him loose?
Gets very observant. That's a big issue for us right now. That's a big issue. You know, if they're not letting you pitch it, how do we get Jarrell the ball more? He's still, even though he doesn't look quite like the other guys of hitting it up in there on the inside zones, his little uniqueness is sometimes really good too. But yeah, there are some discussions about trying to find ways to get our running backs the ball. You know, I thought Nevada actually did a very good job. If you watch the game, after the first quarter, they said, look, we're not messing with 2-man blocking side. We're going to go 2 tight ends. We're going to go 2 tight ends, and we're going to give our backs the ball up in there because we're a little bit bigger than them, and we're going to try to maul them a little bit. And they did. You look at the totality of those 2 running backs carrying that ball that many times, that wore us down. That wore us down, the combination of those 2. So that didn't go unnoticed by us. So I think that's something right now, if I'm sitting out there I'm saying, why doesn't Jarrell Presley get that ball more?
Anything else?
What about the quarterback for Hawaii? He got hurt. Do we know anything about him?
He's good. He's
okay?
good to go, yeah. They play two quarterbacks. One started last year, and then Max Wittick is the young man that transferred from USC, that at one time was a starter at USC, number 13. He injured his ankle, I think, a little bit, but he came back in the game, and he's good. He's ready to go.